During the war, at one point, they came for my father to enlist him in the army. And all they did was they had this big rifle, and they just brought it to, they knocked on my mom's door and they said, "Here, this is for your husband. Tell him to report tomorrow morning at this train station," and that's it. And my mom knew that if he did, she would probably never see him again. And their whole goal throughout the war was to not get separated, to stay together as a family. Because I do come from a mixed race family, so I'm part Croatian, part Bosnian, part Serbian. And so these mixed race marriages and families, they were sort of the most vulnerable in a way because no side wanted us. We were sort of in this no man's land. And so my mother, she takes this gun. And this is in the beginning of the conflict, so I mean, who knows what would have happened had she done this a couple of years down the road. She takes this gun, marches down to the commanding officer's headquarters, which was set up in somewhere near the middle of town, and she just slams the gun on his desk and is like, "No, my husband will not report to this station tomorrow," and she just turns and walks away. And when I heard that story, which my mom only told me for the first time a couple of years ago, it totally took my breath away, because my parents didn't necessarily want me to be an activist. They hated the thought that I was going to be a human rights activist and go down this path. But they were the same way. There's no way that I could be their daughter and not then pursue this after everything that they've done. And hearing all these stories and hearing the stories of the rest of my family throughout the former Yugoslavia. I have family in Croatia and Serbia and Montenegro and Bosnia. Hearing everything that they went through, it's hard to, I don't know. It's hard to, I don't know where I was going with that. It's hard to do anything else in my life. It's hard to not be blown away by their strength and their courage and everything that they went through, and feel humbled and feel like I have a lot to live up to, for sure. I would love to find a way to empower people, to empower the voiceless, to somehow put a megaphone to their own stories, because I don't have legitimacy in that conflict, in that with these people. And when I was there, I of course I dressed like a Burmese woman. I learned the language as much as I could. I ate way too much of their food and gained 20 pounds. And I came to love and know so many people in the community, and I think that they in many ways felt the same about me. But no matter how hard I tried, and no matter how hard I wanted to be, I could not be Burmese. I could not be Kachin or Karen or Shan or Mon. But what I could do is give them the support that they needed, try to be a positive influence in some of these kids' lives at the moment that our lives crisscrossed, but realized that I had no ownership of them, no ownership of this conflict, but rather I could be beneficial to them in giving them access to the resources that they needed to empower themselves, to really make sure that the change came organically from within, not from any outside pressures or from my voice, but from theirs. So I think not only was it an amazing experience for me, I learned so much, I grew. It was an amazing time just teaching and interacting with these kids who were just the most adorable people in the world. But I think I learned that really important lesson, and that's what's been shaping how I view other battles and my role in other activist circles and that type of thing. This is only my third semester here, and in many ways, I'm graduating in May, but in many ways I wish I was here for longer, because this campus is so conducive to organizing and to activism. And the community in general is very receptive of that type of organizing, and I feel like I could do a lot more if I had more time here. But when I first got here, my first semester, I was only involved with Amnesty International, and mostly because I had come back from Thailand and I was just so sad that I wasn't in Thailand, that I wasn't actively doing the work that I loved on the ground with people that I loved, and I felt really frustrated by this ivory tower that I felt like I was trapped in, even though I'm so privileged to be here. At the time, definitely did not feel that way. I did not have perspective. And so I joined Amnesty International, and I did that for a semester, which was great. And then in my second semester, fall of last year, or fall 2012, yeah, I don't know, I jumped right into it. I realized I couldn't mope around anymore about not being in Thailand, gain that perspective, and I got involved with NIPERG, interning with them. And that, I think, completely opened up my eyes to the amount of change I could help produce on this campus alone. Wow, in 5 years, knowing my personality and how I just sort of trust in the universe to take me where it's supposed to take me, I could be anywhere from Thailand to Ethiopia to, I have no idea where. I could be back in New York working for an NGO there. But I know that I want to continue human rights work. I know that I want to devote my life to human rights. And so whether I'm working in an organization like Amnesty or the IRC, which would be an absolute dream in 5 years, I don't know, maybe I'll be living overseas. If I have it my mother's way, I'll be in New York with her. But yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine where I'll be in the next year, let alone in 5 years. But I think that's just part of my spirit. I don't know.